people. I am Tim Ulmer. I'm your host for Epilepsy Gangster. I have gone underground to fight the Epilepsy Gangster after he has bothered me for 50 years. I have found this group of people who are wonderful, and they dedicate themselves to having happy, productive, and socially active lives. Now, the Epilepsy Gangster robs people of opportunities and relationships. He steals people's pension funds, monthly budgets, to the point where they have to choose between living expenses and medicine. And last of all, he kills people, whether it's in their sleep with SUDEP or whether it's in accidents. He's a killer. And so therefore, I've dedicated myself to going underground and fighting him however he can. Watch these stories and see how our gang is fighting back. Hey folks, we have a very exciting show tonight for you. We've got a filmmaker who is telling the woes of living with epilepsy by producing his blockbuster film. In addition, I've got a surfer who travels the country teaching kids with epilepsy how to have fun surfing and doing physical activity they never imagined they could do. Watch these stories and have fun yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce to you a filmmaker who is taking having epilepsy, and he's putting it in a common medium of movies for entertainment that it's going to deliver a message. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miles Levin.
Nice to be here.
Tell us, Miles, how did the Epilepsy Gangster make his attack into your life?
Sure. So I have had epilepsy since, most of my life. I'm currently at this moment 27, and I was 4 or 5 when my parents noticed that something was up. So that's when the Epilepsy Gangster entered my life, and it started out being just absence seizures, or petit mal seizures, as people call it, different things, and I would miss things. I needed some accommodation in school, but overall I was very fortunate that at such a young age it didn't impact my life too greatly, other than that I was in the doctor's office way more than I was on the playground. Then at 15, I started having grand mal seizures out of the blue, tonic-clonic. And that really shook things up for me, because now it sent this shockwave through my life that things are going to be different. Not only are you not going to drive, you'd made your peace with that, but you can't do any kind of teenager things. There will be no exploring. There will be no late nights. There will be no, being out with friends and trying, new things. And in effect, it really stole my coming of age and my adolescence from me. It became clear, you're not going to college. I was the class speaker at my graduation, and I was the only one in my class not to go immediately to a 4-year university, or at least take a gap year with the intention of going. And there was this really brutal moment where at the end of my senior year in high school, the head of the school handed out these golden tickets, and on each ticket it said, "Admit 1 to a life of your choosing." And I keep it in my drawer to this day. And it just tore me apart, because it's like I couldn't cash it.
How did things change for you?
I figured out a source for joy and pride. And for me, that was filmmaking. So I found that when I was investing myself, my good time, my those hours that were good into something that made me feel a sense of growth, made me feel a sense that I was in control of going somewhere that was mine, making something that was mine. It gave me a sense of pride. And, slowly you become more than someone who has epilepsy. You become someone who also has epilepsy, right? I'm Miles. I'm a filmmaker. I also have epilepsy. And it made me proud to say, what are you doing? Maturing is learning your limits and learning your boundaries and learning what you can do to maximize your health as best as you can. And the combination of those things really improved my life. Absolutely.
So how have you used filmmaking to fight the epilepsy gangster?
For me, I was really fortunate that I feel like I really figured out the sort of context of fulfillment. And to me, it's being a part of something that's bigger than you, that your life is not about you. It's about whatever it is that's larger. It's about a sense of growth, that your being here is worth something, that you're continuing to be in this world is worth something. Finding a sense of community, all of these things they don't necessarily make life happy every single day, but they make you want to be here. And for a lot of people with a diagnosis like epilepsy, that's a pretty brutal thing to sort of navigate. I really started to reflect on my time working at this camp for kids who have seizures, and the stories that they would tell, the horror stories of the levels of stigma they'd been through, not just bullying, but like I would call it social terrorism. Like waking up to find on Instagram a video your classmates took of you having a seizure, and on all the comments they're laughing. Movies are this really uninvasive way where someone is sitting down with the intention of hearing from someone they're not, of experiencing something new, of stepping into the shoes of someone they're not. And other communities have been fighting stigma extremely successfully this way. And I just felt like, it's our turn. If we can make a film that is widely seen and it draws people from all walks of life, they're going to want to be a part of this conversation. And so we made the Under the Lights short film. It's about a boy who's so desperate to feel like a regular kid, he goes to prom knowing that the lights will make him have a seizure.
Sam, tell me it's not dangerous.
911, please state your emergency.
Okay. This guy's having a seizure.
Just make sure he's breathing and don't
They'll
restrain
call
him,
my
okay?
mom.
Sam,
Check to see if he's carrying any epilepsy medication.
It would kill her. It'll kill her.
What is your location?
We're at Sullivan Valley High.
An ambulance should be there within 3 minutes. Stay where you are, okay?
They say that they'll be here in 3 minutes. What do I do?
Just be here.
Why would you go to prom if you knew that the lights would make you have a seizure?
Because it's worth it.
A dumb dance is worth having a seizure?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
I just want to be normal. One time. Once.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. He didn't know.
If a person's only point of reference for a seizure is the time they saw a scary sequence in a movie or a TV show, then they're being trained to fear us. But conversely, if that person saw an empathetic sequence, they saw a seizure being handled with care, they saw the person having a seizure as a human being, then when it happens in real life in front of them, they've been conditioned to treat that person with empathy. And I like to say that the only medicine for cruelty is empathy.
I was just really taken aback by sort of how original it was, how sweet and genuine and authentic it was. I was so uneducated about epilepsy. I just started becoming so much more curious. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
I was blown away. I hope the film brings an ordinariness to an extraordinary situation. I want the film to help the general population understand.
Great. Tell us about the feature film that you're working on.
We have put some big stars in this thing.
Really?
The script won a really high placement in the world's biggest screenwriting competition, the Academy Nichol Fellowship. Our pitch for the film won the audience award, the worldwide audience award. They call it the fan favorite at the Tribeca Film Festival. So it continues to prove itself that the world is ready for this.
Absolutely awesome. Well, tell us, you fight gangster in another way. What's that involvement?
Yeah, so I'm a part of two boards, the Epilepsy Foundation of Northern California and the Cameron Boyce Foundation, which is a new foundation formed after the death of Cameron Boyce by SUDEP. And Cameron Boyce was a huge Disney star. And the reason I really wanted to be a part of this organization is that they're in a very, very, very rare position to fight stigma, epilepsy, SUDEP, and otherwise, which is that they have this enormous following of people that just loved Cameron Boyce. I mean, he was a hero to so many people because of the kind of person that he was, the kind of personality that he had, the way he treated people. And so you have all these millions of people who are saying, I'm ready. What can I do? This matters to me. I want to do something. And that's a really hard thing for a lot of us in the epilepsy community to achieve, to get the ears of people who didn't know what epilepsy was a second ago.
Bless you guys good luck with that. And in conclusion here, very briefly, what one message you want to leave people with epilepsy?
Just because you have a condition like this doesn't mean that there's not a fulfilling life waiting for you. And the toughest lesson for me to learn was that the path towards that life is not the same as everybody else. And it does take a certain amount of sitting down and thinking about it. Absolutely marvelous. And I know that our viewing public is totally behind you. I'm very grateful, and I'm always looking forward to chances to help out. So thank you.
I am Natalie Beavers, and I am one of the many survivors living with epilepsy. My life has been filled with many ups and downs. It's just a part of life. I am proud of the person that I am becoming, and as I stand in the face of this relentless disorder called epilepsy, I want you all to know that I am me.
Tim always knew the world was made of different people, the idea of serving others, and loving the United States. Epilepsy made that difficult his entire life, particularly in keeping him out of the Navy. After several failures, the chance came to teach English in communist China. Going to the Chinese university, he was the first foreigner most had met. and he became their only American friend. Everyone discovered that people shouldn't base their friendships solely on nationalities.
I was glad to answer their questions because for the first time in my life, I saw that God had a mission for me. I became proud of my epilepsy, and I realized that I was serving on a mission for my country's image that was bigger than anything I'd imagined as a kid. At the same time, I was serving God.
Read the ebook Involuntary Mission in China with a Thorn in the Flesh to learn about Tim's struggles and discoveries. Ebook available on Amazon.
I'm very excited about our guest here, Jared Muscat. This guy has got a wonderful love for surfing, a freedom that he gets from it, and he has not let his epilepsy get in the way, and he's dedicated himself to bringing that enjoyment to other people who might not have imagined that they could do anything athletic.
Thanks for inviting me, Tim.
Why don't you tell us how the Epilepsy Gangster came into your life?
I was diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 17, turning to 18 on my way to my freshman year of college at UC San Diego. I was actually on the long drive down from the Bay Area to San Diego. I was stopping in Newport Beach to stay with a friend who'd recently been diagnosed with epilepsy herself, and she was in the hospital for a video EEG, and I went to Blockbuster, if you believe it or not. That's how long ago 17 years old was for me. But I went to a Blockbuster to get us some funny movies, one of which I truly a favorite, Night at the Roxbury, so we could stay up as late as possible and possibly induce a seizure for her. At about 3 a.m., no seizures had occurred, so I decided to head on home, get some sleep, and get ready for my freshman orientation at UCSD. Little did I know I was waking up the next morning surrounded by EMTs, a scared mother, a scared aunt, a scared cousin, because I was the one that had the seizure, not my friend.
What did your friend think when you told her what happened?
She actually has never had a seizure since. She swears I somehow stole the epilepsy for her. I don't believe in anything like that, but I would be proud if that was at all possible to take the epilepsy away from someone and bear it myself.
This is just an example that epilepsy can hit anybody at any age.
It's a different journey for us all.
What's surfing mean to your life?
For me, surfing is my form of pure joy. It's some people, they might love baseball, they might love yoga, they might meditate to find a inner calm and an outer source of joy. And for me, it's some form of all of that. I get to go out into the water just about every day that there's waves and compete with my friends, compete with other people out in the water to try to be the best on any given day, but also stop and appreciate the beautiful joy and art that is surfing. You get to ride waves that were created thousands of miles away and are a fleeting moment in time. You might have, like this morning, for example, I caught waves that were created a week ago, and each wave lasted 5 to 10 seconds, and it was a joyous 5 to 10 seconds that felt like a lot longer, but when you look back on it, you really appreciate that quick moment of stoke. So for me, it's my balancing act.
What happened to your surfing when you became epileptic?
My first neurologist, she was walking me through the boundaries that you have to live with epilepsy. And one of the first things she talked about was asking me if I was physically active. Do you work out a lot? It's important that you're as physically active as possible to keep your body healthy. And I proudly told her I do yoga every morning right before I go surfing. And I surf every day. And now that I'm going to be on top of Black's Beach, I'll be surfing 2 to 3 times a day. And she immediately said, well, you're going to have to stop doing that. Surfing's dangerous. You have a seizure out there, you would die. And I said, well, earlier today, you told me I need to be stress-free as possible. So if you want me stress-free, I'm sorry, but I can't be salt-free. And so I decided, and my friends and family aligned with me, that if I was going to go after a life, that included the difficulty of epilepsy. I still needed the ocean to be my middle ground, to be my source of stoke, to be my way to get away from stress.
Did you have to do some probing to find a neurologist who would accept your belief in surfing and relaxation?
I'd already been doing some work with the Epilepsy Foundation, and I reached out to them and I said, hey, can you help me find someone new, someone closer to Santa Barbara that I could connect with more often and try to really find out what the cause of all this mayhem is, and maybe a new source of medicine or a new path of treatment. And it was when I did that, finding Dr. Antonio Escueda, that he asked questions no neurologist had ever asked before. He did tests that never had been recommended before. We did a nice long 7 months of all these different tests to really pinpoint exactly where it sat in the brain, study my cognitive skills, study what effect the surgery may have on the cognitive skills. And it was actually, we're getting close to 5 years ago, March 12th, 2018, that they removed just over a cubic centimeter of my brain.
The picture that you have with the bandage holding the surfboard, what was that about?
So since my surgery in 2018, I've only had 2 seizures. They were really at the heart of the pandemic. As part of the post-surgery life is every 6 months, I'm doing a test and going and seeing the doctor so you can see how my medicine is in my blood levels, make sure the focal cortical dysplasia is still out of there. What you're mentioning directly was, I think that happened just this last September or July, when I went to go do the ambulatory 72-hour EEG. I live in Santa Barbara. The neurology center I go to is in Los Angeles. And so every time I'm going there, I'm going to surf on the way. And that means if I'm getting a hat on for 72 hours, I don't get to surf the next couple days, but I still do need to walk my board from my car to my garage. And then on my way back down to get it removed, I'll be stacking my car with some boards so that as soon as that thing's off my head or as soon as that appointment would be done, I'm going back out there to get some waves. I find it really important that us epilepsy warriors recognize the battles that we deal with on either a daily basis, monthly, 6 months, whatever, and find ways to reward ourselves, both in the name of removing some stress, but also trying to make some light-hearted fun of the situation. Every month I'm picking up my 3 prescriptions, filling up my pill box, and as I'm filling up that pill box, I'm eating some good ice cream and watching some surf movies and something like that, just to kind of try to make it something I don't hate.
You bring surfing to a lot of young people now, right?
Yeah, I do some work, as mentioned earlier. Colleen and Paul. Colleen reached out to me back in, I think it was like 2021, right when she was starting Paul's Purple Warriors, and had the idea to do an event to provide a very safe surf day for kids with epilepsy. And she Googled me and found me as a surfer with epilepsy through Google. And I immediately said, yeah, let's collaborate. It means a lot to me to just provide stoke for all and awareness. And I think it's a great thing. Not a lot of these kids will ever surf again, or they'll maybe surf the next year when we do the event the year after. But just really having that moment where you get to be with other people with the condition, and you get to have a very special, unique life moment and bonding opportunity goes so far for all involved. You maybe feel like you have a shoulder to cry on, or someone to just call and vent to when a side effect is bothering you, or a parent's overstepping boundaries. Just really exciting to see them, the smiles on their faces when they're catching their first wave and discovering that different flow of energy that you get out in the water compared to a bike ride or a skateboard or a snowboard. It's a very heart-lifting moment.
I'm jealous. Well, what one message would you have for all people with epilepsy?
This is something I talk about it very often. It's all about trying to find a path of empowerment. And it's not limited to just that person with epilepsy. It's to the family and friends that surround that person as well. When you have epilepsy, there's the biggest personal battle I dealt with was informing those around me. I wanted to do everything possible to keep it away from being a label that people put to my name. And so there was a lot of people I never told about it. There was employers I didn't tell about it. And at some point, almost everyone had to deal with some form of it, whether it was a side effect or whether it was them seeing a seizure or me not being able to show up for work or for a party because of a seizure, or me asking for a ride because of the seizure, et cetera, et cetera. And so it took a long time for me to feel comfortable to say, all right, epilepsy is a part of my life, and I'm just going to acknowledge that, but I can also just be me. And what was the toughest part about that was empowering myself to feel comfortable with that approach.
Bravo. Well, thank you very much, and keep up the good work.
Likewise, Tim.
The Defeating Epilepsy Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping those battling epilepsy. We provide advocacy and educational services to those battling epilepsy at a global level. For more information about our projects and services, please visit our website at www.defeatingepilepsy.org or email us at info@defeatingepilepsy.org. Please like us on social media and follow us so you can see how we are making a difference. Thank you for your support, and together we will defeat epilepsy.
I want you to know that you are not alone.
And I was scared to go home because I didn't know what to expect at home. And I knew we had stairs everywhere at home to get in the house, both sides of the house. And granted, after that, I was good, but just getting in the house and
what I wish I would have done for the last 30 years. And that is to let people know how much I struggle, how much help I needed, because I didn't get any help. So I wish I would have done that instead of keeping secret about it.
Well, Ron and I were very fortunate to find a support group right off the bat. And I have to say it was the most uplifting thing that we could have possibly done.
E equals mc squared. This theory of relativity means that energy equals mass traveling at the speed of light, squared, the most recognizable equation in history. Since its writer's name is synonymous with genius, people are amazed to learn that his brain had epilepsy. His passion for geometry and algebra as a child founded his belief that nature could be explained by mathematics. He produced his own original proof of the Pythagorean theorem at age 12. At the age of 16, he failed all the general subjects on his entrance exam to the Swiss Polytechnic School, but his scores in physics and math were extraordinary. While working as a clerk in the Swiss Patent Office, he published 4 of his theories of physics and quantum mechanics in a single year. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics and a synthetic element on the atomic periodic table, made possible because of his figuring how to split an atom, which is named in his honor. Keenly aware of man's responsibility to the universe, he joined German scientists in 1914 in protesting World War I. That same duty is what remarkably prompted him to encourage President Franklin Roosevelt to develop an atomic bomb made possibly by his discoveries before Hitler's Nazis could. With such academic and social influence, his legacy has forever influenced civilization. This man is Albert Einstein. Once we accept our limits, we can go beyond them.
Epilepsy Gangster, researchers, my gang and I are gonna stomp on you like the filthy bug that you are. Well, everybody, may you be seizure free and God bless you.